All right, today is the beginning of the start of how to create a vegetable garden from scratch. And when I mean scratch, I mean from scratch. From what you see behind me, this is what I am in the process of creating my vegetable garden from, with the intent to going toward a no-till gardening style or method, especially in clay soil. And when I mean clay, I mean all clay and rock. But I'm not as we go along. And today, what I want to focus on is kind of a sort of introduction into my garden, what I have right now here in 2018, mid-October, and where we're at right now. Because I am in my third year of doing this garden. And I can't do a start to finish when I've already gone 3 years into building or creating this vegetable garden. So I'm going to have to do it a little bit different. Today will be introduction, and then the next video that we cover on this, I'm probably going to be including pictures, because I think I got pictures of some things going from this to what I have today. So I hope you stick around, stay along, and invite other people to check it out, because I'm hoping to expand on some good information that's out there and debunk on some bad information that's out there. Because no matter what you think, there's a lot of people that have the intent of doing what they call a back to Eden, no-till, wood chip, no-dig garden. And there's a reason that they even attempted to do so. And we're going to cover all this. If I don't, you be sure in all the videos to leave a comment below, give me a question, and I will do the best I can to cover it. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to pick up this camera and we're going to go check out what I have right now before I continue on doing some work, because there's an event that is likely coming our way and we need to prepare for that event. That event is spring. I can't guarantee it's coming, but based on history and the past, there's a good chance it's going to happen again, because history repeats itself. So be prepared. And that's what we're going to do after I introduce you to my garden today. Let's get going. Ready, Henry? Okay, so this is my garden area. I have a small garden. What you're looking at is about 4,000, just a little over 4,000 square foot of growing space. That's all I got going on right now. As you can tell, it is, I hope you can tell, you will here in a minute, it is covered in about 2 to 3 inches of wood chips. So first, we're going to take a look here. I have mine fenced in. And I have it fenced in for a reason, because this is one of the primary considerations in this 3-basket living concept or theory that I try to live by. So what you're seeing here is, let's take a look here. You see some beds on the outside, and then you see portions that are fenced in. The portion that is fenced in is 3,600 square feet. And then I have these 5-foot by 10-foot beds on the outside. What I've got so far. I have 4 on this side, and then I use that last space to incorporate my solar food dehydrator. If you hadn't checked that out, you might want to go look for them videos. And then on the other side of the garden, I have 5 beds. Actually, it's only about 4 beds, but 2 of the beds have been incorporated to 1. So what I got going on here, on the corner here, I used 5x5, dimensional 5x5 treated lumber on the corners of the garden and at the gates. I have 2 gates. I have one over there on the west side, and then I got another one right behind that solar dehydrator up here on the east side. I use 4x4 treated lumber all the way around to do my fencing. I have 2 feet of chicken wire coming up from the ground. And then I have 4 feet of this 2x4 stock fencing coming up to 4 feet. And then I've got 3 strands of barbed wire. I didn't have to go barbed wire, but that's what I had on hand. I could have used baling twine, but I thought, you know what, I'll just put the barbed wire on there since I got so much extra. Then that might help a little bit on the longevity, and I won't have to change the baling twine every year or two. And then also the other additional thing about the barbed wire, it does have the barbs on it. So I thought that's going to be a little bit more observable to the deer. It is 7 foot. It is fenced in 7 foot high. Some deer can jump over 7 feet. If I have that issue, I'll put extensions on my post around the garden, and I'll probably just use baling twine just to deter the deer. It's just a visual for the deer not to attempt to jump. But these beds here on the outside is going to make it a little difficult for them as well. So that's what we got going on. Well, let's go take a look around here. The other thing about my beds is I used the cedar posts, cedar logs that I have harvested. All these logs come off my property and my clearing, and I decided to use them to create my beds. Cedar's going to last the longest. I could probably use white oak. That would last a little bit longer than the cedar, but white oak has too many other purposes that I'd rather use it for. The other thing I want to point out here is between every single post here, we have a post. We have cedar log between and toe-nailed in between each post, and that happens to be going on all the way around the garden. So that's why I wanted to introduce you to this, is because I pretty much got a 3,600 square foot, well, actually it's over 4,000 square foot of raised bed. That's probably what you could call this and how I'm going about doing this. And what I have been doing here is I have been planting in here for the last 2 years as a means of giving me some idea of how this garden is coming along, meaning the foundation of it, how my soil structure is developing. Because these test sets, right, that you can do your own home soil testing with. I have one of those little analog kind of things with the probes in it you can stick in. But everything that I got in the instructions tell me to filter out all the organic media. The little rocks, the pieces of wood, leaves, and stuff like that. Well, that's a little difficult to do because everything going into here is organic media. And we're not down to true soil yet, in my opinion. So it's a little difficult for me to do soil tests with these things. So that is why I put plants in here. And that's what I wanted to show you right now. Here in mid-October, we're about 43, 42 degrees out today. So we're getting our first cold snap. I want to cover these plants a little bit so that if people wonder, because I'm sure I'm going to get some feedback when I start sharing some information in these videos, people are going to be telling me what I can and can't do. This is one I really want to show. Right here on this trellis here, I planted along the bottom there 5 eggplants. Those 5 eggplants all were dead, and I didn't think we was going to get anything out of them, but they started producing eggplants. But this is something that I don't have a whole lot of experience in. A lot of people struggle with eggplants in our area, so this is something that I want to really get into. We got about 2 feet, no, I'm going to say about 1.5 feet in growth on the eggplants, and then they started producing some beautiful eggplants, and then something happened, and then they just killed off. Let me show you. I had already pulled these things up, but there's one still stuck in the ground. If you can see right here, this little guy, that was one of them. All right, and then here late in the season, we got this guy. This little guy right here looked just like that, what I just showed you. And then it got one little old leaf down here, and it looked just like that. And I thought, what in the world? And then all of a sudden it just started taking off, and then it flowered. It flowered right there. And I thought, man, oh man. And then, not to mention flowering, it got pollinated. It wants to make little eggplants here. Of course, there's not enough time here, but I have no idea what took place here, what happened. Some of you master gardeners out there might be able to explain that. This is 2 watermelon seeds. Same thing with the cantaloupe. 2 watermelon seeds. And I thought, well, we were at the end of the season. We had 3 small watermelons on it. So I took what flowers remained, and those watermelons were probably about this size. And I thought, well, I'll just see if they do anything here later in the season. And clipped all the flowers off. I clipped off the ends of the vines. And then I come out here a few days later, and I started seeing all the green come back to it. And the flowering went nuts in the last 3 to 4 weeks. They went from what I just showed you to, something like this, and then they keep growing like that. Come over here, and they just get bigger and bigger. I went to counting how many watermelon was on here because I was curious. I was curious if this was spring right now, or in the very beginning of the summer, how many watermelon that I would get off these 2 plants. 2 seeds. That is it. I stopped counting when I got to like 38. And I'm thinking, oh my lands, I have never seen my watermelon do this. It was just crazy. But even though we are late in the season, all this stuff is coming out, I do know that when the temperatures start, dropping below 50, 55 degrees, that the watermelon can still continue to grow, but you're going to lose a lot of flavor on those young watermelon that are continuing to grow. So we're going to go ahead and pick out what we got, and we're going to enjoy it. We're going to give some to neighbors. As a matter of fact, I got an idea. Lorella, if you come across this video, as a matter of fact, you folks watching this video and you're watching it here, say within 4 or 5 days of me putting it out, go over to Not a Farm Girl, a Homestead Adventure. I think that's what it is. Not a Farm Girl. And tell Lorella she's got a late season watermelon waiting on her and Chris and the girls. It's going to be the biggest one I got, because just me and my wife, eating one of these things, that's a lot of watermelon. And we have several others. We probably got, I'm guessing, about 8 or 10 watermelon that we're going to be able to enjoy. So Lorella, we can meet up when I'm back up that way, and I'm going to deliver you another watermelon. And you can put it in your little taste test that you did for the watermelon that you grew. This is Sugar Baby variety. Heirloom, organic, of course. I think she knows my intent and my dedication on going that route. But anyway, folks, this is what we got right now. More comfrey. Hey, bud, how are you doing? Because I don't know how to utilize these tests quite like they instruct us to do, I'm going to listen to the plants. I guess I'm going to try and become what you might call a plant whisperer. That's what I'm going to try to do. So this is basically what I got going on here. And I just wanted to show you this because I am going to be taking out everything in this garden here today and tomorrow. And I wanted to show you where we are at right now, because we got to go back in time a little bit. So on the next video, when I start covering this, I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing next. I'm going to give you a hint. This is the third layer of wood chips that I have put on, placed on top, about 2 to 3 inches thick. With the exception, well, we're not going to go into that. We're not going to go into that. All right, we're going to have to start this thing from start to finish. Then I need to try to do it in sequence right. This is kind of out of sequence because this channel wasn't in existence 5 months ago. And this is my third year on building and starting from scratch, creating a vegetable garden with the intent of going no-till. And I am in heavy clay soil, and you're going to find that out because I'm going to try to show that to you guys. But if you're looking to do this, I would encourage you to follow along. I'll do the best I can, and I really want to encourage you to ask questions during this whole process. I don't care what it is. Well, I hope it's pertaining to the garden for the most part, but I didn't want to destroy what I got. What I didn't want to destroy what you see right now, and without at least introducing you to my garden area here. But we're gonna have a good time trying to do it. I got to get work done. I'm gonna try to do some footage. YouTube videos is not my priority. It is getting my things done, but I am working on trying to capture some of that work and progress, but I will give a little extra effort when it comes to this and not leave too many things out. So folks, if you know of anybody that would like to do this no-till back to Eden garden method, and you would like to get a little bit more detail, and you want to follow along and see what succeeds and what doesn't, I'm going to give you a hint. I'm breaking some rules that you're going to hear out there. Proving to myself and seeing what works and what doesn't work, and trying to get some better understanding, because there's so much information out there that's left out of videos, pictures, articles, and everything. If you find anything beneficial, please do me a favor and share with other people. My only way of sharing right now is through my personal interactions with people and these videos. I have zero social media, so if you want to help share the information that I do put out, or my big screw-ups, then you're going to have to use your social media. I would encourage you to do so. So have a good day, and may all your branches become full of fruit, and I hope to see you next time. Right on. Henry, let's go.